Hey everybody, Frank Spear back with you for the third episode of Analyzing Van Halen. Today we're going to look at Hear About It Later, and this may be my favorite Van Halen intro of all time. Again, Eddie takes the simple things and makes them complex and makes them beautiful, and I've said this in the last two videos, but Eddie loves those playing in fourths. And he uses almost all of those chords and notes in this song as well. I've looked up what key is this song in because it's quite perplexing, and I found like 4 different keys. People are saying, oh, it's in F, it's in F sharp, it's in A, it's in C. It's because Eddie mixes and matches these chords as he wills. So we're just going to call it C or A minor, same thing. And we'll see how it goes in terms of chords and how these things fit together. He starts the song with this absolutely gorgeous intro that I just played, tried to play, and we'll see how the rest of it goes. I might not get to every single part, but we'll go through the solo and most of the parts. Okay, so he starts with this A chord, right? That's a simple A. I don't have to explain it. I got my fake cigarette in here too. I had to go all out. All right, so we got that. And then he just grabs the B. Right? So it's like an A9. It's putting the second note in of the B minor scale, A minor scale. Right now, remember, I didn't say this. We're in drop D tuning, so Eddie always tunes down to E flat anyway, and then he's now lowered his E string to a D. So I happen to have the D tuner on this, so I'm able to just pull that out and drop this down to a D. But that's vitally important, you know, a la Unchained. Getting that. That's for another day, but definitely need to be in drop D for this with all those bass notes that are in here, and then some cool stuff he'll do later on. So just a quick bit of theory, because Eddie throws in these ninths a lot, or add 9 chords. He adds the second of the scale. But why do I keep saying 9? Well, most people say 9 instead of 2 because 9 is the 2 an octave higher. Right? So if you're playing, for example, in C major, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, back to C, right? 1, 2. If that 2's played up an octave, that D, it would be 9 if we keep counting up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we get to that 2 again, an octave higher, and if we keep counting up, we call it a 9. That's how you get 11 and 13 chords as well. Those are really just fourths and sixths. 4 is 11, 6 is 13. Why not 12? I don't know. I didn't invent this stuff. All right, so let's get back to it here. I have my guitar turned down a little to about 6 for this intro. So there's that A. He grabs that. Then he grabs the D, open D string, and G, forming a G chord, or a little piece of a G chord. So he's going from A to G. That's the same G he plays in the beginning of like Mean Street, where the what is it? After he does the I can't do it now because the D it's tuned down to a D, but after So you got the same basic thing there. Okay, so A. And he's grabbing a D chord here. So he grabs the D, the F sharp, and then the open G. So he's got the 1, the 3, and the 4 of a D chord. So you could call it a D suspended. Now, suspended chord means you've taken the third out of the chord, right? So if you've suspended the third this time, right? It's got sent home from school. You suspended it, and you've put in the fourth instead. So here Eddie does that. Or sometimes you can suspend the third and put in the second. Okay? Which is what you could call this. You could call that an A sus 2, right? Where he's instead of an A sus 4. You can also call it an A add 9. Okay, anyway. These chords just sound so friggin' great, don't they? Just these partial chords with the open strings. You've got the D, the F sharp, which is the 1 and the 3, and then you've let that 4 ring out. Eddie uses this stuff a lot, right? Like, does a lot of that fretted note with the open string above it ringing out. All right. Then he repeats that. That time he just hits the 2 notes. Then you've got yeah, he hits the open E there. Okay, so remember, the D string is tuned down a whole step. So when he frets what looks like a G here, he's really fretting an F. Okay? And we're in A minor or C, so we've got an F in there, right? In A minor, it would be the 6th. In C, it would be the 4th. Right? So either way it works. A minor and C major are the same key anyway. Contain the same notes. So here, after he grabs the... He's grabbing that F, and he's grabbing the C, and he's grabbing the, I might not get all these notes right, but you could play around them, see what sounds right to you. Almost any of them work, and he lets that high E ring out. Might be hitting the open G there, he might be hitting the open D. Right? E to F to B to C. Then he adds in this F again. So you got... And maybe grabs the... Then... Right? Now that looks like an F. But remember, it's an E flat because we're dropped down a whole step here on this string. So you got... So he's grabbing the E flat. He's picking right down. He's barring this. As if it were in some sort of F chord. And he's grabbing the A and the B flat note. So he's going from E flat to F to G. And then he's grabbing an A up here and playing through these open strings. Then back to this. So he's got F, C, F, and then the open G. And the very end is... I know he uses a flanger, and I have this phaser on with some chorus, so it's not the exact sound, but then he goes B, C, grabs that F, and then plays, and then lets that F ring out with the C. Then brings the volume up for the... for that whole section that comes up. Okay? So he's got that stuff that he does in the beginning there. I'm not going to go through all that. It's like an intro kind of... And it's got like a... I know he's doing that beginning there. He's got this... Eddie does this a lot too. Right? He's got an A here, and then he takes this G note and bends it up a whole step to an A. Those are called unison bends, right? Because they're the same note. You're playing them in unison. Then he goes to this partial A. So he's just did an A here. And he grabs an A. You know, this sort of rush. That red barchetta chord, I call it. It's a D chord, basically. And it's the A form of it up here, only he's just playing the first two notes, the two bottom notes. So. Which are just D and C. It's this D form and that C form. He's playing the top two notes of that. He does like I think he does takes the G string and dive bombs it, and then he does a unison bend on the C. I forget exactly what he does after that, but that goes into the intro. He taps something like that off the D, right? Plays the D. He's just tapping that 12 frets higher. So he's just playing off that D chord. You can figure out the phrasing exactly for yourself. Here. It's one of my favorite parts of the song. That's a great thing about Eddie. Is one of his secrets is, and I think he's talked about this. A lot of the parts that are in the main parts of the song body, the structure itself, he'll use in the intro, or vice versa. If he writes a beautiful intro, he'll use those things again in the major part of the song, right? So we come back to this. Of course, he's got to throw in his Eddieism. So he's got that thing off the D that I love. Leading back to that. So you got an open A. You're grabbing a D. And then you're grabbing a B flat. A B flat is in the key. If we're looking at this as the key of C, then we're looking at it as a major dominant seventh, right? So if we're in C, B flat is the dominant seventh. which Eddie does a lot rather than the major seventh of the key. For example, if he's playing an E, he'll very rarely use an E flat chord, but he'll use a D all the time. And technically, that's a Mixolydian mode, which is just a major scale with a flatted seventh. Let me say that again. A Mixolydian mode, or chords that are in the Mixolydian mode, are just the same chords as the major scale chords or notes. It's just instead of playing the major seventh, you're playing the flatted seventh or the dominant seventh. So that's, I think, how Eddie gets the B flat here. But again, he'll use E, he'll use B, he'll use D, he'll use A, he'll use C, he'll use G, he'll use B flat, and he'll use F. It's these fourths again with Eddie. All right, so a lot of his songs are written right here. You know? All right, so you got that playing off that D chord. I forgot the phrasing. That's it. So he's using open A, grabbing the D, grabbing the B flat, then grabbing the E, playing off the B flat. So the E to the F, so E to B flat, F to B flat, and then grabbing that G, and then to the I don't wanna hear. That's where he's doing. I don't wanna hear. That's too high for me. I don't wanna hear about it later. I don't wanna, baby, I don't wanna. Eddie had to sing those parts too and play that for the backup vocals. All right, so that's a really cool part. What comes after that? Let's see. Okay, yeah, so in the chorus, you've got this... So I played a little sloppy there, but you get the gist of it here. He's doing that main chorus part. Then he goes down a half step, chromatically down from the D to the C. So you got that. Playing that same D chord he's been playing in the song already. And he walks it down a half step, down to the C version of it. Just the C and the E and then the open G. Right? Which gives us the plain C chord, C major chord. And back and forth between the C and the D. So you got that's that tried and convicted winner take all section. Just like the beginning. Right? Then so a lot of that was from the intro, but except for this part. So he walks up chromatically from the low open D to the F. Right? So this here looks like a B, but it's really an A. Then the C to the open A. Okay, so there you've got most of the parts, the basic parts. And you can see even this chromatic walk. Now that's, remember, chromaticism doesn't have to be in the key necessarily. You're just walking through the notes. You know, Eddie does a lot of that. He does it at the end here too. And at the end of the solo, he just walks right up one note after the other. Okay, I think the solo is in the key of, maybe they go to E for the solo. I think there's a low E. I have to check it again, but it seems like it's in E. Just a low E bass note behind it. He's got all the E major pentatonic licks and stuff, E minor pentatonic licks going on in there. He's playing all in there like he does quite often. But we'll look at the solo in a second. I'm trying to keep these videos to a half hour or under. I went over in the first one. I'm at 21 minutes here, so we'll get to the solo in a minute. But that's the basic gist of the song. He's got this chromatic run. They're just whipping through the notes from the low D to this A. Okay. The solo. Oh, I love this solo. Let's see if I remember all the parts. But that's the first section, right? So he's playing off the E and the D notes there. And again, the point of analyzing these videos, and I'm being redundant on purpose here, is to see that Eddie isn't using any magical notes or notes that aren't on your guitar or mine, right? They're all here, and they're not even sharps and flats for the most time. Eddie's not playing any special jazz, secret sauce. What chords are those? Oh man, it's all kinds of magic. It is magic because he's making it magic, right? He has the keen ability, unique and prodigic sensibility to take these simple chords and make magic out of them, right? But you know, if me and you look at an A chord generally, and we struggle. What am I going to do? Go to A to D? You know, a lot of rock is just, you know, but Eddie will go, you know, that's what makes him the king, right? You got that simple A chord, and then you're sliding from D to E chromatically. That little pull-up. Pulling off from that D to B. That's magic. I can't hit the F sharp in the bass because the string is tuned down, right? So, oh, I could. I'll do it that way. Yeah. We'll get to that song too, Beautiful Girls. Okay, so the solo. It's the phrasing, right? It's two notes. But creating that melody. It's Eddie said once, I wish I wrote a Christmas carol. And that's so perfect for him because it's all about melody for Eddie, right? Jingle bells. Think of every Christmas carol. I think that's how Eddie thought. He thought of his solos and his playing like Christmas carols. Like, this has to have a super strong melodic sensibility to it. That, I mean, that's a swing. That's swing, man. That's like big band swing jazz. And of course, his dad was a jazz saxophonist or clarinetist, so I'm sure he heard a lot of that music growing up. So that's what I think makes Eddie's playing so different as a rock guitar player. Right? He's got that swing jazz sensibility. He's always anyway. All right, so these two notes. I think that's a good piece of advice, though, when we're writing solos, is think melodic. Think, can people sing what I'm about to play? Every part of the solo, can they sing it? Think of Randy Rhoads' guitar solos. I can sing almost every Randy solo. Like right now, if I had to, I could sing most of it. Maybe not get every note right, but you get my point, right? It's like, think of an REO Speedwagon solo. You know, you can sing those solos, and people like that. They want to whistle these things. They want to sing to them. They want to hear something they understand, and Eddie got that. Even though he played blazingly fast at times, there's the things you can still almost hum or sing his fast parts, like in Ice Cream Man, right? That big stretchy thing. We can sing that. We know how it goes in our head. It's not just somebody ripping out. And what the hell was that? These are things that are melodic. All right. He goes up and plays the same thing an octave higher, but a little bit different phrasing. Gets that little staccato percussive. And he vibratos that one. That's great. Takes the D and the low D. Then I think it's something like. All right, so he's up here at the E minor pentatonic, and he's hammering on up here to the F sharp. Then he gets that B. So from the F sharp to the G. So it's got this phrase. So he's going from the B to the F sharp to the G to the F sharp to the E. Something like that. I have to listen to it exactly now to figure what else. And that is trilling off the B note, right? And the D, and then the F sharp. And he does some kind of pentatonic lick. And then what does he do? I think he goes, oh. Just grabs that, Eddie with that A harmonic. Then he comes up here and he grabs the E harmonic. Right, something like that. So he's got here, he's playing the B to the D, then to the E. Pinching those harmonics. If you don't know how to pinch a harmonic, you haven't lived, baby. There's plenty of videos on YouTube that'll walk you through how to do that with your thumb and a little bit of your finger, a little bit of the flesh of your pointer finger. Eddie was really big on doing that. And then what happens after that? Let's see. Yeah, after he pinches that harmonic, he has some kind of... So another minor pentatonic lick. Something like that. And then it's like that English police siren. That's it. He starts it here on this E flat. E flat to B flat, then D to A. That's something with the bar there. Then up to these hamrats. That's it. Come on. That's it. I forget if he goes up with them or down with them. There's that chromatic run. Right? So you see these hammer-ons? Right? Same thing as before, basically. The E to the G to the B. And then the B to the D to the F sharp. Right? Taking this A note and bending it up to a B. Then hitting the C note here when it's bent, giving you effectively that D note. Ending on that A. Then the chromatic run starting from E. Bending it up to the E. That's the gist of it. I don't think I played everything perfectly. As a matter of fact, I know it, and far from it. But that's not the point of these videos, because there's a ton of videos online that can teach them to you note for note. And I'm trying to give you a little bit of a breakdown of, man, that's Eddie's using notes I play all the time. So I hope this one's been helpful. I'll see you guys in the next one. Appreciate it.